What'd you do? Press this?
But yeah, you got it.
Oh, God. How are you? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Leslie, for our wonderful opening music. Good morning, good morning, good morning on this lovely morning. And welcome to the Vashon Island Unitarian Universalists. My name is Mary Van Gemmert, and I will be your service leader today. If you are visiting, please participate as you feel comfortable. You're invited to stay and introduce yourself in conversation following the service with our yummy food and coffee over there. We are a mostly lay-led community, strengthened and enriched by weaving together the volunteer contributions of members and friends. Our community is supported and guided by our quarter-time minister, Reverend Victoria Poling. As we begin our service, I invite you to settle into this space and release everything that led you up to arriving here today. As you feel comfortable, please put your feet on the ground, close your eyes, and take a couple of breaths and bring your attention into the moment of communal reflection and sharing. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Swabash Coast Salish Native people. The Puyallup and Muckleshoot people continue to steward these lands today. We commit to uplifting Native voices, experiences, and histories, as well as promoting social justice actions for and with the indigenous peoples of this land and beyond. As we settle in, we acknowledge that our congregation is committed to individual freedom of belief, welcomes diversity, seeks to promote a sense of community, and fosters religion which enriches the spirit. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived here, you belong here. I'd like to invite Dennis Kostelecki to light our chalice and share our chalice lighting reading.
Good morning. I am Dennis. Welcome. We gather here to worship, to seek the truth, to grow in love, to join in service, to celebrate life's beauty and find healing for its pain, to honor our kinship with each other and with the earth, to create a more compassionate world, beginning with ourselves, to wonder at the mystery that gave us birth, to find courage for the journey's end, and to listen for the wisdom that guides us in the quietness of this moment.
Thank you, Dennis. I'd now like to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend April Fraser. Reverend April is a board-certified chaplain and after working in hospitals, has spent the last decade in home hospice. She is an affiliated community minister at Shoreline UUC. She received her Master's of Divinity at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. She finds joy in nature, creative projects, and spending time with her family. Welcome, Reverend April.
Our reading for today is a poem by Mary Oliver titled, "To Begin With the Sweet Grass." Will the hungry ox stand in the field and not eat of the sweet grass? Will the owl bite off its own wings? Will the lark forget to lift its body in the air or forget to sing? Will the rivers run upstream? Behold, I say, behold, the reliability and the finery and the teachings of this goody earth gift. Eat bread and understand comfort. Drink water and understand delight. Visit the garden where the scarlet trumpets are opening their bodies for the hummingbirds, who are drinking the sweetness, who are thrillingly gluttonous. For one thing leads to another. Soon you will notice how the stones shine underfoot. Eventually, tides will be the only calendar you believe in. And someone's face, whom you love, will be as a star, both intimate and ultimate. And you will be both heart-shaken and respectful. And you will hear the air itself like a beloved whisper, "Oh, let me, for a while longer, enter the two beautiful bodies of your lungs." The witchery of living is my whole conversation with you, my darlings. All I can tell you is what I know. Look, and look again. The world is not just a thrill for the eyes. It's more than bones. It's more than the delicate wrist with its personal pulse. It's more than the beating of a single heart. It's praising. It's giving until the giving feels like receiving. You have a life. Just imagine that. You have this day, and maybe another, and maybe still another. Someday I'm going to ask my friend Paulus, the dancer, the potter, to make me a begging bowl, which I believe my soul needs. And if I come to you, to the door of your comfortable house with unwashed clothes and unclean fingernails, will you put something in it? I would like to take this chance. I would like to give you this chance. We do one thing or another. We stay the same or we change. Congratulations if you have changed. Let me ask you this. Do you also think that beauty exists for some fabulous reason? And if you have not been enchanted by this adventure, your life, what would do for you? What I loved in the beginning, I think, was mostly myself. Never mind that I had to, since somebody had to. That was many years ago. Since then, I have gone out from my confinements, though with difficulty. I mean the ones that thought to rule my heart. I cast them out. I put them on the mush pile. They will be nourishment somehow. Everything is nourishment somehow or another. And I have become the child of the clouds and of hope. I have become the friend of the enemy, whoever that is. I have become older, and cherishing what I have learned, I have become younger. And what do I risk to tell you this, which is all I know? Love yourself. Then forget it. Then love the world.
Thank you, Reverend April, for that beautiful reading. Our first hymn is hymn 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 21 in your gray hymnal. Splendor of the sky. for the law from which our earth ever and around it lies, source of all to the rays. This our hymn of grateful praise for the joy of you and I, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight, ours of all to the race. This our hymn of grateful praise for the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all to the rays. This our hymn of grateful praise for the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all to the Savior, us our hymn of grateful praise. Thank you, Leslie. So I think we are ready for our sermon by Reverend April Fraser.
Have you ever had something you read over and over, not because you wanted to, but because of the situation you were a captive audience? Such as the back of a cereal box, advertisement while stuck in traffic, or those magazines while you're standing in line at the grocery store. To follow the metaphor for those who may not read or read in a different language other than the text, perhaps it's a picture or a painting. Or for those with vision issues, it could be a noise or a particular smell. Like when it first catches your attention, you don't like it. And then after a while, and again, it becomes a comfort and something you actually look forward to. Perhaps it's like the first taste of coffee, an acquired taste, until your day isn't the same without it. For me, it was a book when I was at the doctor's office getting allergy shots at the age of 7. Every week, I was there in the waiting room, a captive audience. Now, in the 2nd grade, I wasn't reading the newspapers or those news magazines. There was one children's book, You're Only Old Once by Dr. Seuss. Now, I'm going to pause for a moment here to acknowledge recent public awareness about racist stereotypes and offensive illustrations in some of Dr. Seuss's books. I consider not using this example because of this. I didn't want the tension of it to distract from the meaning of the example. Let me ask this. Is it possible to hold the fact of this awareness along with how he was a beloved author and encouraged children to read? Can we understand the time and place the books were written, as well as challenging such thinking as is necessary for liberation for all? This is like a lot of things in life, holding multiple truths and living in the midst of discomfort and being willing to grow. holding the truth of living alongside the truth of dying, without denying the difficulty or the joy, without looking away. Not that it's easy, but we are going forward nonetheless, whether kicking and screaming with joy and an open heart or somewhere in the messy middle. Decades later, as I go back and read You're Only Old Once, I realize it's not exactly a children's book. I can see the humor now, which my 7-year-old self could not begin to realize. The most memorable part for me was when the main character was being tasked with the pill drill after getting prescriptions from 12 doctors. This is a short excerpt. Go to room 663, where a voice will instruct you. Repeat after me. This small white pill is what I munch at breakfast and right after lunch. I take the pill that's Kelly Green before each meal and in between. On alternate nights at 9 p.m., I swallow pinkies, 4 of them. The reds, which make my eyebrows strong, I eat like popcorn all day long. Does this sound at all familiar? As a child, it was so funny to me to think about taking pills like popcorn all day long. Now, after years of working in healthcare settings, the pill drill takes on a different tone. We have heard such phrases such as, you're only young once, or you only live once, as opposed to the one from this book, you're only old once. Or how often have we heard the phrase, life is too short? I remember something a friend said to me long ago when he was describing a situation with someone he may have chosen as a spouse. As he spoke about breaking up, he said, life is too long to deal with such destructive behavior. I had never before thought about the idea that life is too long. But it makes sense as we think about how we want to spend the time we have ahead of us, however many days or decades it may be. When illness or injury strikes, we might be shaken up and turned around and forced to look at life differently. One of these stark moments for me came after a car accident with injuries that led to a cascade of life impacts. There were times when all I could do was lie on the couch all day. To even wash dishes was more than I could do. We live in a world where we are judged and valued by what we can do. And when our bodies cannot do what is expected, what then? Questions of meaning, purpose, and faith may arise. I have visited countless people who are now confined to their beds and forced to rely on others for their basic needs, who have thus begun to ask, why am I still here? The vital and excruciating spiritual work at this time is learning to just be. To let go of judgment based upon what we can or cannot do. Sometimes I stop and ask myself, what would I say to a friend going through this? Often we can be kinder to others than to ourselves. Or what would your friend say to you? You are loved and you matter. Your value is more than what you do, but who you are. Are we living according to some idea of what we think others want of us? Many of us may hide who we are or pretend to be someone we're not because of what we think others want. This is exhausting and heartbreaking. How do we want to live these days, months, and years ahead of us? In my work as a chaplain, as a friend, as a human, I would say one of the things that makes an important difference in our life's happiness is feeling free to be who we really are. This includes being vulnerable and open with those we trust, to talk about what it is like to live with illness, to sit in the midst of uncertainty and the fear of possibilities. In hospice, we talk about living until we die, holding the truth of dying alongside the truth that we are yet living in the world. I think a powerful example of this was visiting hospice patients while I was pregnant. Here I was, sitting with people who were dying and carrying a child within me on the other side of the life cycle. What did I discover? Shared joy and sacred space. The truth of their approaching death was held with my child's approaching birth, and each enhanced the beauty of the moments, the sorrow more poignant, and the joy achingly sweet. We spend so much of our time thinking about the past or the future and lose focus of the present moment. Yes, thinking about the past and the future is important. As we look back, we can acknowledge and process the truth of our grief and loss and find healing. Thinking ahead is practical and responsible. At the same time, we know joy is found when we are embracing the moment we are in. Consider the wisdom found in Buddhism. I still remember one of my professors from Divinity School, Dr. John Tatamanil, as he taught us about the Buddhist concept of grasping. He gave the example of how if he is holding on to his daughter as a 4-year-old, he is missing out on the joy of his daughter as a 5-year-old. Pain is caused by grasping for what was. Pain comes from wishing things were different. Life is too short and life is too long to miss out on what is in front of us because we are grasping so tightly to what was and will never be. Let us have the humility and grace to accept help. Yep, that's what I said. Accept help. We may spend most of our lives being independent and able to do things on our own, and then we find ourselves in a situation where we cannot do what we used to anymore. This can be so tough. Some of us may have had to face the reality of this many years ago and have adjusted as time has gone by. There is wisdom among us here today, for we are a community of different abilities and have been born into different bodies. Some of us may have had more practice helping others rather than accepting help. And for those of us facing the next level of caregiving needs, what would it take to shift our perspective, to understand accepting help is a chance to let others have purpose, to consider it as giving our loved ones a gift of something tangible to do in a situation when they can do nothing else. I've been trying to figure out the best phrase to use here to accentuate the urgency of my next point. If you'll pardon the possible theological meanings, I'll use a common phrase we hear. Please, for the love of God, talk to your family and your loved ones about your wishes for the future regarding health care and other things. Make decisions about who will speak for you when you cannot speak for yourself. Outline specifics of your money and property and tell those you trust. Year after year, I see families broken apart with money and inheritance as the catalyst. Siblings that will no longer tolerate being in the same room. This happened with 2 of my uncles. It's been 30 years now, and counting. I've spoken to many people who do not want to have these conversations because they are afraid or that it might be uncomfortable. I beg of you, please think about what you want and tell those you trust. Give someone authority and get the legal paperwork done. If we don't, it is possible your next of kin, according to law, is not who you want to be making decisions for you. Or your legal next of kin is a group of people who are mandated to make shared decisions, and the conflict is hurtful and unforgettable. If you are looking for a way to begin these conversations, perhaps starting with this. I know this is difficult to talk about, and it is important, and it will make it easier for when the time comes. We need not wait to have these conversations with our loved ones. We all know how life can change in a moment, not just illness and disease, but the dangers of driving, choking, bee stings, falls with head injuries. I know, I think about death a lot. I guess that is what happens working in hospice. One of the benefits of walking alongside death every day is an acute awareness of the fragility of life and the reoccurring reminder to not take life, mobility, and ease of breathing for granted. Also, it inspires me to live with intention, to seek beauty and wonder in the world. I think one of the reasons I have been able to sustain myself in this work is having young children in my life. To go from the space of sacred and poignant dying moments to the sacred moments of being with my children on the couch and speaking words of love and gratefulness to my husband. I ask you to think about where you find meaning and joy. What restores your spirit? These are the things that will help us as we live in the midst of knowing we will die. There's more to be said about how to live in the midst of illness, death, and dying. But for today, I hope that we can let go of our projections and expectations and be free to be our authentic selves. May we remember our value is beyond what we can do. Please talk openly with your loved ones about your end-of-life wishes. Practice accepting help when needed. May we all learn to stop grasping what our lives used to be and can never be. Let us keep our eyes open to see beauty and joy around us. And may we have the courage to live while knowing we will die. And by holding both these truths, we will more easily be able to embrace the present moment, to breathe and be. Blessed be.
Wow. Thank you, Reverend April, for those very inspiring, thoughtful, and hopeful, and your excellent advice to get your affairs in order. Let's hold a moment of contemplation and worship, an Old English word that means to consider things of worth in a generous and abundant silence. I'd like to ask Leslie, our wonderful musician, to play a piece for us to enjoy as we reflect deeper on Reverend April's message. Thank you, Leslie. Elegant. We are now going to pause the recording as we prepare for joys and concerns. As a caring community, we set aside. The words are printed on the back of the laminated order of service. Leslie? There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There's a love holding all. We rest in this love. We will now resume recording as we finish the service. Before we start in on the offering, I'd like to invite Kim Kalmbach up to a breaking announcement about the stewardship campaign. Welcome, Kim.
So all my stewardship people can come up. So our stewardship campaign, pardon me, this year, we're reaching high. We're hoping to bring in $100,000 into our fellowship, and the point of our reaching is that we have some things that we want to improve for ourselves and some bigger things we want to give out to our larger community. So, as you know, our people on Zoom have had great difficulties, and that makes me really sad because there are times when folks just cannot attend, and we need that. We as well have this goal to not only take care of ourselves, but give out to our community. And when I've been writing for the newsletter, you see 100 and then you see 110. The 10, I hope, beyond the 100, will become our give and take that just goes out every year for the once a month that we will give money to organizations on our island, because we don't have families with kids in our midst. That's a change nationally that's happened, but we have families with kids on our island with needs. We have other needs on the island that we know that we can give to. We don't have to be recognized. We don't have to bring them in. We don't have to do anything, but we want to give to those organizations in a bigger, more collective way. And I think about some of us in this room, because truly there's only 39 pledge units. And last year, our pledge units were $71,000, which is amazingly fabulous. And we want to keep going with that. So onward and upward. And this is my committee. And Pamela's going to be first. And we're only going to take a couple minutes, we promise.
She said I have to be very short. Yes, yes. One of the things that I've been involved in stewardship on almost every Unitarian fellowship that I've ever been with. And I think it's so important that when we moved to Vashon, we didn't know a soul. And we came to church first time to see if it was here, and we loved it. And people have been so wonderful and nice, and it's a safety net to have people that'll help you if anything goes wrong. And we do want to raise money, and we have a minister now, a part-time minister, and we need to keep her. So my husband and I talked, and we're going to raise our pledge by 20% and hope that other people will be able to come up at least a little and help things.
And coincidentally, I'm Kirk. Sylvia and I were talking about our pledge, and we're going to raise, as it turns out, about 20%. And we're on fixed income. We both work kind of part-time to augment that. But I think the concept of what we've come up with, what Kim's come up with, is having monies for our operations and then monies for our aspirations that we can turn back to our community. Very important. It's going to take, look deep, and I know others share or give money to other charities, worldwide charities and stuff like that. But I want to keep some of the money here and help the community and get the word out about us, VIUU. So that's it.
So I'm going to pick up on that word aspiration, which is actually one of my favorite words. So I'm asking people to think about increasing their pledges because of all the potential that we have as a community to be more, not just for ourselves, but for the community that we live in. And this past year with Reverend Poling, Reverend Victoria with us, we've just accomplished so much. We have incredible staff. I mean, we are lucky to have Runa with all of her skills, and Reverend Victoria is amazing. And I just think, the word that I've been using for it is to go beyond, like we're good, right? But we could be better. We could be doing more. We could have more people, and that will take money. So be generous.
I've been really encouraged the last month or so about this community, this spiritual community. I'm really happy, but at the same time, I think that we can do better. We can do better for ourselves, and we can do better for our community. I remember the time when a pack of cigarettes, a loaf of bread, milk, and a gallon of gas were a quarter. And it was enough for me to put a quarter into the basket on Sunday. As we all know, it's not like that anymore. So, you know, I encourage you to give more. And I heard today from a wise minister, all right, that we should look ahead and, for the love of God, look for what you want and see if we can make it happen.
So we rehearsed this, as you can see. Had no clue what we would say, but the, the point being, together we're really strong. We know that there's some things that we're not going to have probably ever, because the way that life has changed since the pandemic with families, kids, churches. But we do know that families on our island need our support. And so one of the ways we have really considered that money in the 10,000, 100,000 for our operating budget to help us with sound, with Zoom, with pastors, with all that stuff, but then paid for, take care of that. And then this aspirational budget out here is to really begin to have some outreach to families that doesn't look traditional like it used to. There probably won't be Sunday school because families don't do that as much anymore. But families do go to camps, families do come to potlucks. So there's other ways for us to reach kids, families, and for us to just give to those organizations that are already doing it wonderfully. So that's our hope, is that we can give and we can get a little bit and get better at Zoom. So the folks that need it will have it. So thank you. You'll be receiving something at some point soon, because we really would like just to do this pledge drive for the next couple weeks. And so you can look on your newsletter, and there's the pledge sheet, or you can just talk to Kirk. He's our linear person. I'm the global person. So, and we can work together to see what we can do this year. So thank you very much.
Thanks for your gift, Ross.
Okay. Did you want to come up? Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. For the times we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. All gathered here and those far away. For the times we share in love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. And you do not have to listen to me give the usual Sunday request for funds, because I think that's been taken care of. Now, can we have our closing reading, please? Reverend Fraser.
Oh, my heart is so tender after hearing that story about the protest. I have a 9-year-old daughter. This is for you, the words from a traditional Buddhist meditation adapted. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy.
Thank you for all your great inspiration today. I really enjoyed this. Our last song is hymn number 100, Peace Like a River. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn 100 in your gray hymnal. I've got a river like a river, I've got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like a river, I've got calm like a mountain, I got joy like a mountain in my soul. I've got joy like an ocean, I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. Thank you, Leslie, and everybody. Dennis? Is Dennis going to extinguish our chalice? Yes.
Friends, oh, by the way, this reading is from The Pathways to Healing by Phoenix Bell Shelton Biggs. Friends, thank you for your witness to all that exists on the margin. Thank you for your commitment to hold yourselves and one another in great and steadfast love. Moving forward from this space, may we continue to nurture spiritual growth. May we continue to travel along the winding pathways to healing from whatever brokenness we individually and collectively hold, knowing that we do not journey this path alone.
Our formal service is now over. I'd like to give a special thanks to Reverend April Fraser, Leslie, Dennis L., and Dennis K. and setup group number 2 for getting us all together here, and for all you for participating so extensively in our today's service, and for Catherine Sullivan, who is the basic organizer here and was so helpful to me too to understand things. So we're now going to continue with the VIUU announcements. If anybody has an announcement related to a VIUU activity, please line up over here and come up and forward and tell us about it.
Again, the books did come in for it's going to be the March 17th book club meeting. It's on repentance and repair, making amends in an unapologetic world by Danya Rutenberg, who is a Jewish, what's what they call it? A reverend, rabbi. She's a rabbi. And it's very interesting and very up-to-date. It's talking about the presidential election going on right here in our country. And our minister, Reverend Victoria Poling, wanted everybody, if possible, to read it. So we're going to be talking about that on May 17th. And the following month, on April 21st, is going to be Bittersweet, How Sorrow and Longing Make Us Whole by Susan Cain. And again, it's a very interesting book. I've started reading that already, too, and it's very interesting. So anyone is welcome to join.
Women's group usually meets this coming Wednesday. We're not going to have it because of that Wednesday, not on Valentine's Day. So we will be meeting instead the following Wednesday. That'll be the 21st. I'll be at my house. If you need directions, give me a call, or I'll talk to you individually. So next week, 6 to 9, a week from Valentine's Day, 6 to 9, my house.
On a lighter note, we're going to have a Valentine's making party, and it's going to be right after the service. So we're going to move the chairs, put up a few tables. We've got loads of stuff. And if you'd like to help make some Valentines for yourself, for your friends and lovers, for the food bank, and I think Kim has in mind for some of our elected officials, we'll have some equipment here, and please stick around. Right after church. Right here.
I'm Donna, and Reverend April, thank you so much. And I wanted to volunteer because I used to be a volunteer with End of Life Washington, and will help anyone just talk to you. I'm talking with a friend of Charlene's right now, helping her navigate end of life decisions and documents. And so please do call on me. And I also, Sheila is, there's a group on the island who will volunteer to help you. And on March 4th, Catherine Crawford, she was my team, we were a team with End of Life Washington on the island, and she and I are going to give a presentation on end of life issues, including hospice, palliative care, end of life directives have already been covered, I think, but I would be happy to go over that with anyone. And also access to the Death with Dignity Act and stopping eating and drinking. Just very frank discussions, and we want to be resources to people. So please call on Sheila or me. And yeah.
The group that Donna's talking about, I take on the role of finding someone to help people do the documents they want. So I have a whole list of people who have been trained, Karen and myself, to do investigators. So this is to do your advanced directives, do your healthcare power of attorney. So that part of your life is taken care of. So you can call me, my name's in the register, my number's in the register. Thank you.
I'm Vicki. Some of you may have heard that Danny and Shauna Ahern and their daughter Lucy and Deej have been priced out of the island, and they're moving to Seattle. And it's really, I'm really shaken by this. I really enjoy that family. Anyway, Shauna puts up an essay, and I happened to read it yesterday or whatever. They're looking for people to come help pack. They're looking for people to bring dinner and share it with them as they do this transition. Makes me really sad, I'm sorry. So, yeah, they've been a big addition to this church, and Shauna, that they've been through a lot of really rough times, and this is another one. But they're moving forward like they always do. So take that quick, sooner rather than later. This should be happening. Thank you.
I'm Ted, and the men's group will meet here this coming Thursday at 7 o'clock. So I'll bring popcorn, and if anybody else wants to bring food, that's great, because we all like food.
Yeah, very happily, from the men's group, we created a drum circle. And we're meeting every Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday evening. And there are 5 of us who've been participating in it, and anybody else, any other male drummers who would like to join us, we'd like to expand that. And we're meeting at Bob's house these days, where he's staying with Sheila? Sheila's house, great. So, and I'm leaving this week. I've had my surgery on Thursday, and, it's not great, but it's over. I'm glad for that.
I can load a drum.
Oh, you got a drum.
You can put your pants like
Well, what a wonderful group we've had collaborating and speaking here today, and about very important things, especially end-of-life documents. And thank you, everybody, for attending and participating, and for our wonderful minister. Thank you, April. That's great. We're going to send each other off, and by singing "Go Now in Peace." Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the spirit of love surround us everywhere, everywhere we may go. Enjoy, and it's Valentine's time. Mm.